What was your school's huge scandal? My high school guidance counselor fricked a science teacher's wife and everyone knew about it. They got a divorce. Both teachers still work at the same school to this day, and students will never ever let it go. The story has been handed down from year to year. 5 or so guys got caught smoking synthetic weed, the kind that utterly reeks and will frick you up internally in the school toilet right next to the biology rooms, where the biology teacher had just got out of being a drug officer in the Met. When asked if they smoked cannabis in the toilets, apparently one of them, he was new to the school and didn't speak much English, said no, I only smoked weed. The assistant principal died in a car accident. There was a big somber school assembly in his honor. His wife said a few words, and then his 14-year-old daughter came to the microphone to say a few words. She sort of snapped and unloaded about how he was not a good guy. He was a monster who had been abusing her and her little sisters and using them for kiddie pronoun for years, and she was glad he was dead. I've never heard a room full of people grow so silent, so fast. 2 things. 1. We had a bomb threat and the teachers would not tell us who sent it until the school paper leaked it, and for the rest of the year admin and the paper had a back and forth power battle too. Not our school, but our sister school. The principal of that school got fired because he was found in a hotel room with a dead hooker on the bed and a mountain of coke on the desk. Not a scandal per se, but we had a huge sit-down protest because the cool janitor got fired because of some petty argument with a lunchtime lady who had a lot of pull. Looking back, she was probably freaking the principal. All students from 10th to 12th grade sat down on the floor in the cafeteria when the bell rung at 8:30 am up until the end of class at 3 p.m. The principal came in at the end of the day and said the janitor would resume his employment. We cheered. It made the news. Some idiot parent showed up to the local elementary school a few years ago and said, I have a gun. I'm going to go to this classroom and shoot this person. What are you going to do about it? He was promptly arrested. He wanted to know what the school's policy was on active shooter situations and make sure they were prepared and his kid would be protected. Unfortunately, he was next level stupid and has been spending some time in prison. My high school had some fights that for some reason managed to make the local news, and the principal's words about it were broadcasted as well. She was pissed and talked loudly in a passive-aggressive manner over the announcements the next morning, repeating our school's mission statement over and over, ending the broadcast with record that. Record that became a bit of a meme around the school after that, and the school seems to have lightened up about the situation since, because the journalism team shirts have record that written across the back. Someone spray painted, "Is a kiddie diddler?" asked on the wall of the school. Everyone saw it when they showed up. The teacher was nowhere to be found that day. The girl was also nowhere to be found. I remember it was a Friday, cause the day was crazy with people talking about it, but it sort of died down on the weekend. Monday we find out the guy killed himself that weekend. Later, talking to the girl, sadly it was very true. Others came forward later. It was a pretty shooty situation. Edits. Kiddie diddler equals child molester. 30 years ago girl miraculously seemed normalish after. I think she was hella strong. I didn't actually know any of the other girls who came forward, or don't remember knowing them. The caretaker killed 2 local girls and hid them in the school. He tried using the clay kiln to burn them. He later dumped them a few miles away. There was a male and female high school pet teacher that essentially shared an office. They always got along really well, and kids would always joke that they were dating. We were just dumb kids, so we never really thought anything of it. After a couple years, they both started acting weird around each other, and there were rumors that he left his wife and kids for this pet teacher. This wasn't actually true though. What actually happened was they added on a bedroom to their house and the pet teacher moved in. The kids pretty much just had 2 moms and everyone got along wonderfully. It was strange for about a year, and then it was business as usual. I guess they're going on about 15 years strong. A year after I graduated HS, a woman was stabbed 40+ times with a pair of scissors while jogging on our track on a Sunday. One of the guys in that year's senior class wound up hanging around the track over the following days, obsessively pestering investigators with questions and theories, so naturally some suspicion fell on him. When the woman's description of her assailant she survived matched him spot on, he was arrested, and both the scissors used and his bloody clothes were found at his house. Dude was sentenced to 10+ years in prison. End of story. Right, wrong. 2 years after the trial, the jailed kid is ordered released after his little brother, 1 year younger and a dead lookalike for his big bro, is popped for violent sexual assault on a woman and confesses to the stabbing during questioning. Turns out the older brother took the fall for him, falsely confessing so that he could keep his younger sib out of jail. Dude never told anyone, but did admit the lie after his younger brother's arrest and confession. I knew both kids when I was a student there. Both brothers were definitely thought to be weirdly intense, but their behavior was attributed to their military dad's strict style of parenting, and not anything darker. We had 2 teachers arrested for secretly recording kids in separate incidents. Our woodshop teacher had a low-angle camera on the floor pointing up towards the seats, and also would slide an iPad out from under his desk when girls would walk up to it. He let a student borrow his flash drive, who found the evidence. Then our speech teacher was caught hiding a camera underneath a sink in one of the private bathrooms that special education used. A very popular guy at my school was arrested for videotaping people using the restroom. He was 18. They were not. My school district gave all high school students laptops that they could bring home with them to use for school work. They could also remotely activate the webcams and spy on students, although of course they didn't tell us this. One kid got caught smoking weed this way while he was in his room at home, and I think was going to get suspended. He sued the district in response for invasion of privacy and won the case. It got national media attention for a little while. Good for him. My friend's sister got suspended for a fight she got into after school, off school grounds. Their parents fought it and got the suspension reversed. I'm tired of schools thinking they have any say in what kids do on their own time. Unless a student specifically gets school personnel involved, it's none of their business. In my senior year, a group of friends who were goth before goth was really a thing experienced a tragedy when one of the friends accidentally killed the other. The friend who caused the accident took his life a few weeks later. This touched off a wave of suicides at my school, 5 in total, over the next 3 months. In my sophomore year, a group of seniors decided a good senior prank would be to sneak into the bus garage and slash youth tires on buses in order to get out of school. Ended up causing over $40,000 in damages and did cancel school one day, and the police came to the school to do interviews all that week. Apparently, most of them got away with it because of how the buses were parked at the time. Some of them were doubled up, so they only hit the second row of buses, which made camera views too far away to positively identify. After that year, our and the neighboring districts changed their bus lots so that the buses were single row only and beefed up camera systems. Also, as per many posts on this thread, found out after I graduated that my chemistry teacher in 10th grade was arrested years later in the neighboring state for trying to meet underage girls for sex. He was at least in his 50s. A girl died in the pool during an event at the school. The swim teacher was blamed and was prosecuted. The girl who died was at my sister's class. Both were 7 at the time. That happened over 10 years ago, but the parents haven't had another child since. She was their only kid. My high school district's superintendent hired a relative who wasn't qualified for the job, increased the salary of administrators every year, used the district's credit card to buy meals, groceries, gas, personal electronics, and gift cards. When the state audit went through, they said that the overpay of administrators and the personal spending cost the school district around $1 million. Her husband was also an administrator. When she eventually got caught, she just retired and for some reason never faced federal charges. When she retired, she had a $260,518 salary. My favorite part is that the state audit discovered that the district's credit card was used to purchase logging equipment the same month the superintendent's husband filed paperwork to open a timber company. Everyone knew there was corruption in the school district, but no audits or investigations happened until someone was threatened by the superintendent's husband on Facebook. I went to a small Christian high school that also had a middle and elementary school on the grounds. The principal of the high school had a child that was in my grade. One day he comes over the intercom and announces that he's stepping down from his position. He then goes on to talk about how he and the female gym coach had been having an emotional affair for the last few months. This announcement goes through every speaker in all 3 schools. I remember everyone in my class looking over at his daughter who had a look of complete surprise on her face. From what I gathered, this was the first time she was hearing about all of this. Shortly after, the gym teacher also left her position. But the most interesting part? The gym teacher had no idea this was going on. She was just doing her job and thought she was friends with everyone. The principal read more into their relationship and decided to go to the church with it, and they made this decision. The gym teacher left her job out of shame and had to spend a lot of time explaining to her husband what exactly was going on. Edit, adding information that others have asked about. The gym teacher's husband took a little time to realize that there was no actual affair that went on. After that, the rumors and gossip in the area got to be too much, and he ended up getting a different job pretty far away and moved them both to start fresh. The principal and his wife got a divorce within a day or so of the announcement. The wife got custody of all 3 kids, plus I think eventually their house and a fair amount of money. The former principal took a job selling either cars or furniture, I can't remember which, and pretty much faded from the radar. I don't think his eldest daughter had anything to do with him after all of that. I wanna say that she intentionally made sure he stayed away from her wedding. Best comment of the day. My school discriminated me and would not let me speak to other kids because I had autism. They said they did not want my disease to spread to other kids. They kept me at a lunch table with kids who either had really bad allergies, like peanut butter, or whom were as unfortunate as I am. They didn't teach me, neglected me, and intentionally told me wrong information. They then proceeded to attempt to put me in a contained classroom, the kind where people don't learn anything, so I wouldn't affect the school's scores. Obviously, a lawsuit followed. Court let me leave the school, despite the school refusing to hand over the papers. They still function to this day. It's in Greenville, South Carolina. Hopefully they have changed.